For this video, we'll be looking at my switch panel, which I installed on my 71 Chevelle. We'll look at the individual switches that I used, as well as how I wired it up using a color wiring diagram. Now here's how it works. This is the light switch, parking lights, headlights. This is the high beam. There's the high beam indicator. This is the backup switch for the fans on the radiator. And this is the start switch. So these are the switches that came with the switch panel. Pretty nice. I think they're quality. It's got the protective cover, but it came with 4 on-off switches. It's just 2 ways. On, off. And that didn't always work with my application. And they also came with these covers here. You know, on, off. And then in the kit, it comes with some wires, which I'm not going to use, but it came with this. You know, thinking this ring here goes to your total power supply right there. And then these would be power to the individual switches. And they came pre-crimped. Not all bad. It's quality though, but I'll save that for a different project. So if you're not going to use that, the kit also came with these end connectors that you can use. And that's what I've been doing. So I'll show you how I hook these up to my actual switch, trying to make it all professional and not short out. Also, I should say, when you buy other switches, sometimes they come with these protective little all-weather boots that you can screw down. You know, and it's got a little screw in there. Gives it a nice little rubber feel. It's not all bad. Of course, it's not working with the protective cover. Because without that little boot, when you close the cover, it should turn the switch, well, either on or off, however you got it wired. Oh, it's on, off, but anyway. Then I got a bunch of these left. And I think I had some before this project too. First thing, that end connector, I forget specifically what that's called, but here's my blue wire. See, not too much here. Then I'm going to crimp that. I like to give it a little twist, but I'll crimp that on there. But before you forget, you need to put your shrink wrap on there. This says Chicago Electric, and I think it's the quarter, yeah. 1/4 inch, 8 feet. This is fantastic. Hold it like that. Let me get my shrink wrap on there. Get my end connector. Crimp it on there, nice and tight. Yeah. Oh, hell. Well, gotta crimp it on there, right? Jesus. I guess if I had better crimpers, I might do a better job. See if I can't get right in the middle of the thing, too. course, these are crappy little crimpers. I'm probably not using them, right? There we go. There. Well, that's on there. And then I like to put the shrink wrap on there because I think it gives it a little strength. A little more strength. Ugh. Turn the power strip on. Now, look how professional that is. So then on the switch, so let's see, we'll get that started. And this is the hard part right here, the whole stupid project. Jesus Christ. There we go. There we go. Looks nice. Looks really nice. And then on the other end, I used a bunch of these bullet connectors. Bunch of these are from First Source Terminal Nylon Male Bullet. And I made sure to use the male side on the switch panel because then there's no chance of this being hot if this is the setup you have. There's no chance of this being hot because power needs to go to this. So if I ever disconnected the switch panel, the female end of this would be from the car, which would be any hot side. And I put bullet connectors on both of these. So there'd be a bullet coming off of here and a bullet coming off of here. But these bullet connectors, I think are really nice. Now some would argue that I don't need a shrink wrap on here, but because nothing's exposed. But my argument is that is a stronger connection. If you get some bent wires like this, that's a stronger connection than if the shrink wrap was not on there. But as far as the bullet connector, like that, and don't forget your shrink wrap. Just like that. And then you can double check to make sure it's the right size and it's going to go over this. Yeah, and that is a really nice smooth fit. 1/4 inch. Goes on there like that. And then that goes on there like that. Give it a real good crimp. Nice and tight. And then I choke this up as far as it'll go. And you can check that with a female end of a bullet connector here. To show you how these look going together. Yeah, like that. So you can take this shrink wrap and you can really choke it up on there to about there. Super nice. You need to have a wire coming out of there. So if you ever gotta service it That'd be your connection. Super nice. So, here's what we got. One other thing to show you is for the high-low beam switch, it's a different kind of switch. See how this only has 2 connectors, and that's on-off. Now this type of switch here is I think this is called a 3-way, but you can see it has three connectors, right? So for the high-low beam, power comes in this one, and then via the switch, that power is either directed this way or it's directed out this way. So this would be your low beams, say, and this would be your high beams. Power comes in, low beam, power comes in, out this way, high beam. And all the switch is doing is selecting. So normally the switch is down, directing power out, and the safety cover would be closed like that. So that would be your normal low beams. And then when you want high beams, you just switch it up. Now the power is being directed through here and out for high beams. So all you're doing is replacing that floor switch with a switch like this. And I don't know how many amps are going through that, but it can't be much. I don't know. Maybe my car will burn down. I don't know. But I think it's cool. Here's a better example, actually. So I think they call this a 2-position, 3-pole, maybe. So power comes in, power goes out. Power comes in, power goes out. 2-position. It's either this one or it's that one. One or the other. That one or it's that one. And that's what you need for high-low beam for your headlights. Here's the final product. You can see all the wires with the corresponding bullet connectors. I've labeled everything. And then here's the stock headlight switch, which plugs right into there. So if we look at our wiring diagram, fortunately this is a color diagram. When we go right down here, we find light switch connector. And that's how you turn your lights on and off. Pull it out once, park lights, pull it out all the way. Headlights, rotate it. Dim the instrument lights. If we follow this blue one up and out and over and down, we'll see that connects to the beam selector switch. And that's the switch on the floorboard that you punch on and off with your left foot. That switch directs power either out from this green wire or this brown one. So if we follow these two, this is the firewall connector here, and this is the passenger side of the connector, and this is the engine side. So we follow this green and brown up. We can see that it goes into that pin right there. This is a mirror image of each other, and here's that corresponding green on the engine side. We follow that up, around, and down, and we see that corresponds to the high beam side of the headlights. We go back here, the brown corresponds to this pin. We go up and over and down, and that is the low beam side of the headlight switch. Now, by the way, you may have noticed that this green also comes out. This is on the cab side. There's a green here. So if power's coming in here for the high beams, power's also going to come out of this green, and we're just going to trace that up, 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 and over. And by golly, that is the high beam indicator. And that black one is a ground. So, turn your high beams on, and a little blue light comes on. Now for the ignition switch, or the starter, for the starter, if we start at the starter here, this is your actual start wire. It's purple. And if we follow that down, we can see that that goes into the firewall connector. And this is the engine side. And that corresponds to this pin on the cab side. And it's also purple. If we continue to follow it, we see that we have a clutch safety switch, and that's manual transmission only. My car has an automatic turbo 350, so it's got a neutral safety switch. Then, if we follow this all the way up to the ignition switch connector, and this is what's going to be on your steering column, and that's what I spliced into right here for my start switch with the red safety covers. I spliced into this. What I should have done as well, but I got lazy, is, so when you turn your key, that's what's energized. This purple one is energized when you turn your key to start the engine. What I should have done was then, because this wire was cut, I should have took this and directed it to the horns. So if somebody tried to steal the car and they turned the ignition switch to try and start the engine, it would really sound the horns, kind of a poor man's alarm. That's what I should have done, but I got fed up and just wanted to finish the project. I hope this video helps you. All of the products that I use are linked in the description below. If you have any comments, especially how I could have done this better, please leave them in the comments. I do read them all. And thanks for watching.